This is X-Wing Gamecast. Hi, my name is Greg Duncan.
This is Richard White.
And we're going to be playing some X-Wing today. Mike commanding the Rebel Cool Hots Army.
My name is Michael, and I'm flying the Rebel Cool Hots squad. What I'm flying is a Gold Squadron pilot and Horton, both with ions, Horton with proton torpedoes and R5 astromech. Also flying two X-Wings, just rooks. My general strategy is to come out in formation and do what I can to take advantage of the proton and Horton, distance requirements there, while doing what I can to ionize and disrupt the flight of the enemy. And while that's happening, allow the X-Wings to just beat the hell out of me. The things that make me nervous about my enemy are he's flying Slave 1 with Vader and a TIE Advanced. And what makes me a little bit nervous is there's a lot of heavy firepower, and Vader's squad leader ability is going to be disruptive, especially with the Slave 1 flying around.
Next, we're going to hear from Devin, who's going to be flying the Imperial Threes Company squad.
Go ahead.
Alright, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
What's up? I'm Devin. I'm flying Imperial Threes Company, which is a Tempest Squadron pilot with concussion missiles, Vader with concussion missiles and squad leader, and the Bounty Hunter with gunner and a seismic charge. My plan, hopefully, is to be able to blow up one of the X-Wings first round with the concussion missiles, and then hopefully between the Bounty Hunter and Vader and the other Tempest Squadron, if the Tempest Squadron doesn't get blown up, I can take out the other one and then whittle down the Y-Wings from there. But I have to worry about the ion cannon. That's going to be really annoying because he could potentially fly my Bounty Hunter off the map because it's so large. And it's just going to mess with my movement for a while. And if I don't get one of the X-Wings on the first turn, it's going to be really bad because X-Wings can blow up anything, and my squad is more fragile than he is. He has 6 more hit points than I do, so I have to be careful.
Now that we've met the players, let's find out who wins initiative in this match.
And here we are coming in with Devin and Michael facing off. Michael is running on the Rebel side of things, taking a chance and running a Horton Psalm crew, basically a Gold Squadron pilot, a couple of rooks, and Horton Psalm hoping that he can abuse his rerolls at range 2. Devin on the Imperial side is running with a fire spray, hoping to get a lot of offense out of that. And he's going for the early kill with 2 TIE Advanced running concussion missiles. Thinking his main goal there, Richard, will be to come in as easy as he can and get a good early target lock on probably one of those X-Wings and try and take them out of the battle completely.
The thing about X-Wings you got to remember is they're the most damage on Mike's side. They've got a ton of damage. You're talking, 3 attacks every single round, and so you have to kind of be worried about that when you're playing against them. He has the ability with Darth Vader and the Bounty Hunter. If he can get the concussion missile off early enough with Darth Vader and maybe hit with the Bounty Hunter, you could have a situation to where that's just lost points because Michael will just have that rookie will never get to fire. That being said, if the rookie survives, you can get a lot of answering damage with an X-Wing. So, but yeah, I do expect the X-Wing to get targeted first, absolutely.
X-Wing in danger running at pilot skill 2, so he'll be firing pretty much late in the game. The Tempest is the only thing that'll be firing after those guys. That's going to be unfortunate if the Imperials can actually get a good opening run on one of those guys and take them out early. That's going to be a serious problem for them.
Yeah.
I think really on the Imperial side, he's got to worry about ion cannons in a lot of situations, hoping that that big ship doesn't get flown into something.
Yeah, because he's got 2 ion cannons. He can escort a ship off the map if he wants.
And it's unique that you actually have the opportunity to pile those ion tokens up on something large like the fire spray.
So let's take a look here at where they're placing and where we kind of think that they're going to go in regards to this asteroid field. Looks like we've got most of the Imperials setting up in this area, and the Rebels are pretty clearly going to be going to the left direction. So I wouldn't be shocked if that's where they're going to go. It looks like from this asteroid placement here. Let's see where he places his other ships, and we'll see where they go from here.
You know, it sure looks like neither one of them actually want to deal with the asteroids in their field at all. They look like they're coming pretty head-on. They're not really flying themselves immediately into the asteroid fields. That could change depending on where the Imperials lay down their other troops. But it definitely looks like Mike with the Rebels is hoping to completely avoid an asteroid situation right now. Flying a very tight 4-man formation. Most likely he hasn't dropped that last ship yet, but it looks like he's going to go ahead and take the standard block formation. It's a very common flight strategy with a 4-man group of ships.
It looks like Devin forgot to put his Tempest down first. That's sometimes you forget on these things. It's kind of funny, but I don't think it would really change any where Michael would have placed. He would have placed both of these after. So
well, exactly.
Yeah.
With Michael winning initiative, it's really neither here nor there in this particular scenario. So what the bounty hunter goes down before that, they both go down at the same time. As far as Michael's concerned, certainly something you got to pay attention to sometimes when you're running these games.
So he's going to set up the Tempest Invader in this area and head this way, try and get a concussion missile off from the side.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way. We'll see how they get grouped up here as we move forward.
The thing you've got to think of if you are the Rebels is you've got to think about how you're going to fly, because your general goal here would be to try and get right out of range 3 the first and then fly right into range 1, hoping to avoid those missiles. Now you're going to get some range 1 shots, but I'd rather have.
What's he doing here with Horton at the moment? It looks like he's moving away from that block
Horton
strategy.
has been placed at the far bottom. That means that he's going to try and he's trying to keep Horton at as far a range from the other ships as possible because of Horton's abilities. Horton's works best with at range 2 and 3, where he gets a reroll on any blanks. So he wants to try and keep this his Horton as far away as possible to get as many range 2 shots as possible with his ion cannon to make sure that he is able to fire with a proton torpedo, because Horton is usually pretty nails with a proton torpedo, because if he gets a focus, it's a hit. If he gets hits, it's a hit. And if he gets blanks, he gets to reroll.
There are just so many reroll options that Horton brings to the table.
Yeah, I love
And
this.
it does look like, as predicted, we have Devin placing both Darth Vader and his Tempest Squadron pilot lined up.
Yeah, they've got a somewhat of a bombing run, so we'll see how that works out here.
Yeah, hopefully he can pull that off. That's a pretty important part for him, especially if you can take down something early with those concussion missiles. He's really going to pull out ahead as an early advantage in this game.
He's just got a lot of offense, and if that offense hits, it's absolutely devastating. It just makes it really difficult to come back.
Well, it's almost sort of a gambit for him, too, though, because the X-Wings follow the same path. They take the same kind of action. If one of those X-Wings gets to fire, it can really light one of those TIE Advanced up.
Yeah, I mean, if the X-Wings survive, they can kill anything. They can just... That's the thing about X-Wings, is they're just incredibly destructive. And when you have 3 dice to attack and 4 up close, I mean, you can, with 2 shots, kill any of those TIE Advanced. Just with 2 X-Wings just dead. So it looks like we've started. We've got an hour and 15 minutes, like any standard tournament game. So this will be timed. We may zoom through some of the slower periods, but you are going to see a tournament-style timed match.
And it looks like the movement tiles are hitting the board here. Both gentlemen, I'm sure, deliberating over where to fly to open. The opening moves so often tend to lead to no attacks in early games with the distance that the board has, and even with some of your faster ships. I mean, really, unless both of you are flying A-wings directly at one another at full 5 speed ahead, you're likely not going to have any combat in the early parts of the fight. So what's really the key, Richard, in these early moves? What are most players trying to do right now?
Well, you're trying to set up your first engagement, right? Your first engagement is when you actually start firing dice at each other. So you're trying to set up where you want to be on this next move. So if you want to set up to try and get into the asteroid field, you've got to move on this move to try and set up that move. If I was, let's see here, we've got our
early reveals coming out.
Believe he is moving
four forward. Yes. Full speed ahead for Michael and his X-wing.
Yeah, it looks like he wants to meet the bounty hunter in this area and just try and get as close as possible.
Not a bad strategy, although I don't know if personally I would be aiming for that bounty hunter early in the game. My major hope, honestly, would be to go after one of those TIE Advanced. Far fewer hit points. If you get 2 runs on him with an X-wing, you have at least the potential to take away a ship and the points. Thoughts?
Well, the thing you got to keep in mind is that Michael won initiative, and when you're going against a missile squad, you want to lose it, because unfortunately he moves first. And so no matter what, and with Vader anyways, no matter what, if he was to fire that concussion missile, the Tempest, he's going to get that concussion missile off no matter what, because you can always fire back when you're hit. So since the killing squad would have to be at pilot skill 2, he's going to get that concussion missile off no matter what. And once that concussion missile's been fired, he's just empty hit points for Devin. Devin wants him to die first after the concussion missile gets shot.
Look at this. Instead of moving in slowly early, the Imperial squad leader has decided to just go full bore with that Tempest Squadron pilot. Do you think he's maybe trying to throw him out there as a bit of a meat shield, hoping that he'll soak the blast so that Vader with his squad leader can continue to deal out actions?
When you think about it, that's the one guy you want to die first if you're on the Imperial side. I mean, your bounty hunter is worth the most offense, and you don't want him dying. Vader's worth a ton of points, and he hands out. He's got his missiles. He hands out squad leader, so he's going to be giving you a lot of free action. So,
and if you look at it here, it looks like Devin's playing nice and aggressive, covering a good large distance with his bounty hunter moving out to meet the X-wing.
So, I mean, in some respects, I know the bounty hunter has the most hit points, but he also has the most long-term damage. And Michael's got enough damage dice to potentially kill a bounty hunter in one round. He can do, if he's at range 1, he could do 8 damage with the X-wings, and even if he's at range 2, he can get 6 damage with the X-wings, 2 from a Y-wing, and 4 from Horton. So that's enough damage to kill a fire spray. He can kill this fire spray in the first round of fighting if he plans it right. But he's got to make sure he has just enough space to where he's at range 1 and gets a shot.
I think the key for him is, even if he can't kill that bounty hunter, probably ought to focus his Y-wings in that direction. We might see that at least, like we're talking about in the early part.
He could hit with the Y-wings. He could hit 2 ion tokens and just start walking that I-wing all the way off the map if he wanted. I mean, it depends on how quickly Devin's going to move on his second turn, but it's got real potential there.
Well, we'll be seeing it soon. It looks like the movement tokens are hitting the table for the second turn.
Yeah, there wasn't enough range for any attacks, so they moved to round 2.
Again, as we mentioned before, pretty typical opening. It's difficult to get ships into combat space in that first round. It's really all about setting up and planning for your next maneuver. Round 2, it does look like, depending on how quickly they move, and looks like they're able to skirt these asteroids as well for right now. We should see some engagements in round 2.
There's gonna be some pew pews here in a second. Still worried about Vader. I mean, you got to think that he doesn't really want to move that fast. He wants to. At this point, he's gonna be in range 3, so he really should only be moving 1 or 2 forward. So, Mike reveals a 3 right bank. I was not expecting that. I guess he was thinking along the same lines as what you were thinking about trying to kill a Tempest as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it looks like he may have changed his mind about that, or perhaps with asteroid placement, it doesn't look like he really allowed himself. Perhaps he didn't expect Devin to enter over into this area here, where he was expecting a straightforward kind of fight. Now he's having to change his plan of attack, and it looks like he's bringing his X-wing army and one of his Y-wings. Most likely Horton will follow. This is the kind of squad you fly in a group. Looks like he's bringing them to bear on those 2 Tempest Squadron pilots. I wonder if perhaps, depending on movement here, yes, it looks like we're going to have a Tempest Squadron pilot.
Yeah, he
move
moved
forward enough for a
3
target lock
forward.
range.
That is a lot more aggressive than I expected. A lot more aggressive. His bounty hunter is
this
moving
might be a mistake here. This is
4
a large movement.
forward, and
Yeah, we definitely have a collision.
That's a collision. Unfortunate.
That is a piloting error by the Imperial squad leader.
Well, I
here.
mean,
Not a good decision.
Well, I mean, at least he loses an X-wing attack on him. I mean, let's put it that way: the X-wing can't attack the bounty hunter. That's not the worst thing. I mean, he doesn't have his action, but he's got Gunner, so Gunner kind of helps assure you get at least 1 damage.
And if you take time to look at it as well, it looks like one of our other X-wings is vulnerable to attack from the bounty hunter.
Yes, that is not touching.
No focus on the bounty hunter because of the loss of actions from collision. However, it's still 4 attack dice at range 1.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a serious problem for that
That's
X-wing.
going to hurt really hard.
And we talked about that at the beginning as
And
well.
the X-wing doesn't
that
have a
X-wing
shot on the bounty hunter, so he's got a longer range shot on the Tempest fighter. But
and
still,
players measuring out distances, it looks like that front-running X-wing Rook pilot is within range 3 of Darth Vader.
so let's take a quick look at these actions here. He's taking pictures.
I think he fears for his X-wing after the target lock was put on him by that front-running Tempest pilot.
So the Tempest pilot has a target lock and focus on the X-wing. Darth Vader handed out see here, he's taking his action at the time.
Vader handed out the focus.
Squad leader and a
Vader's
focus.
taking a focus for himself.
So
as
he's
squad
choosing not to fire the missile now, but to wait and fire it with focus later. To try and get the target lock focus and get 4 dice.
That's an interesting decision. Let's see how it plays out here.
Let's see here some combat rolls. The first person to fire would be Darth Vader.
I think we'll see just a blaster fire from him. He can't use his concussion
Kind of
missiles. No
seeing who
target
he's
lock.
got range. Looks like he's
Range 3.
He's attacking.
Ooh, we get a hard hit and a crit on the dice. Let's see if the X-wing can survive. Oh no, blanks across the board. That is
there goes his
gone.
shields, and he's got a missile just staring at him, and a bounty hunter staring at him. That is.
You know, that missile might even get reserved if the bounty hunter can lay down enough damage on that X-wing. I guess
He
we'll see
would
what
be
happens
the
here.
next to fire as well. It's
Actually,
no,
Horton Slam is up right
Horton
now.
Slam gets to fire. He's checking range.
Looks like he's range 2 on that bounty hunter. The other is just out of range.
So he's going to ionize or attempt to ion cannon this bounty hunter.
Yeah, without a doubt. Let's see how
That is
dice
the better
play out.
target. See if we can't see some ion tokens.
Well, we have a good roll on the dice.
That's
He did bump Horton Slam earlier, so he was not able to take a focus. However, the same is true for the bounty hunter, and the bounty hunter
so
gets
he's
hit by
been-
the ion
He
cannon.
has been ionized and he loses a shield.
Wow, that could really be a problem if that next Y-wing comes up and ionizes him as well.
That he's got a gold with a focus. I mean, that's statistically that's going to hit.
It's always nice that round 2 seems to
So
make up
let's see
for
this
round
bounty
1.
hunter.
Oh my. Not a good situation with 4 hits on the dice against that other X-wing from the bounty.
Oh, that's
Only
unfortunate.
dodging 1, that's 3 to the hole, and that X-wing is dead.
That is a dead X-wing.
That's a good thing he took a picture of that before he lost it. It's the only way he's going to remember it.
The pilot gives a self-pic of himself right before he sends it. He texts it to his wife, "I love you, honey."
And it just blows up.
And then just dies to bounty hunter cannons.
Ooh, a target lock didn't even get used there, so he's still got 2 concussion missiles in reserve. I'll tell you, that's an interesting first round. I think we'll see some X-wing fire on
The
Tempest squad pilot here. Oh, and a good roll. Bad roll for Mr.
And he dodges out of the way, suffering no damage because he still hadn't used his focus.
Of course. That's squad leader with Vader for you, just able to grant actions hands down.
Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, he lost his target lock because I guess he didn't use his focus. No, he took the damage. He took the damage. He wanted to keep it for
an attack, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh.
He's got 3. I don't know. He's got 2 dice. I would have kept that for my. For my hole. I mean, you're not going to hit anything at that range anyways, so may as well try and keep your concussion missile alive.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie about that. All right. Well, we're getting measurements on Gold Pilot now. It looks like we're going to see another ion cannon.
Let's see if he can ionize a large ship.
Oh, this could be interesting.
Oh.
Not a good roll. That's pretty much a guaranteed hit.
The one thing that sucks about the ion cannon is you see 2 crits and a hit, and you think, "Oh man, I should be dealing 2 extra damage."
And you really just throw the 1 on there, and it breaks your heart every time.
But hey, that bounty hunter is moving nowhere, and if you notice, there's not enough space between he and Horton Som. He's going to bump into Horton Som next round and lose his action. So that was actually a great target for ion cannon. Anytime you can lose an action, force an ion cannon to lose 2 turns of actions. I mean, that's nice.
Well, to be honest, the early dice were not friendly to Michael at all.
The Tempest squad got 2 hits in on the X-wing, so the X-wing has taken a shield damage now at this point.
Oh my, that's a lot of damage. That's him losing now 6 points of damage across the board, all to his X-wings.
Yeah, the X-wings just got painted.
They did, and that's a serious problem. That's his offense right now. We'll see if he can wiggle his way out of the situation he's in right now. We're moving up again. Now, round 3, movement phase.
If you're the Rebels, I imagine you've got to... I mean, if I'm the rookie, I'm just going to move maybe 1 or 2 forward. If I'm the Y-Wings, now that you've got your bounty hunter... ionized, you know where he's going to go. So if you can try and get the Y-Wings in this area, because you know that Horton's going to be moving 1 square forward, you can hide from his firing arc, but you can still hit him with your 360-degree turrets, and you can just continue to just move him towards the edge and not have to deal with him. The X-Wing, you've just got to hope that he can get range 1 attacks on maybe the Tempest before he dies. And you want to stay away from those concussion missiles, so if you can get into range 1, say, around here, you've actually got a good scenario to maybe get yourself a high damage attack if you can live past Darth Vader, but he's still got 3 hit points left. Vader's not likely to deal all 3 hit points. I mean, it's possible, but it's your best chance of getting the most amount of damage before he just dies.
Yeah, again, if he loses that X-Wing, it's going to be a serious problem for him. I think both players right now are very carefully considering their movement action.
Yeah, because this is such an important round.
This round could really determine, like you said, if Devin is able to get a hold of the Rebels X-Wing in a bad situation, then the Rebels have just lost the entire offensive capability of their army.
The Y-Wings just cannot do enough damage. I mean, Horton still has a proton torpedo, so you've still got a little bit of burst, but I mean, the Imperials, they do as well. I mean, they still have 2 concussion missiles available.
Well, and that bounty hunter, he's not going to flop around out there with ion cannon forever. eventually he's going to get to take a shot. Hopefully, if he doesn't get walked off the board, that's going to become another issue that they have to deal
Something fun to mention: the fact that the ion cannon has been the fact that the fire spray has been ion cannon. He's not revealing a dial. So the thing you've got to keep in mind is, since he's not revealing a dial, he can't use seismic charge. And this would be one of those situations where, hey, you might get something in a seismic charge right here.
Yeah, it is a wonderful opportunity to drop a seismic charge. Again, we're talking about situations. That does depend on how Michael pilots. We're not going to see it happen, but were Michael's ships, the rebel forces here, to move in this direction, seismic charge is starting to look like it may be a touch out of range.
Yeah, but hey, you never know where he's going to move. I mean, if he...
Could get lucky. Always happens, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's possible that they start chasing after the fire spray, and then you've got another opportunity. So I don't know if I'd use it or not, but still, he doesn't have the option. So
it looks like the rebels have decided what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the Imperial commander just carefully considering his actions right here. It's amazing how carefully he's considering his actions for only having to declare for 2 ships. He's really worried about, I would imagine, getting target locks.
Yeah,
and then releasing those concussion missiles that he's got stored up.
He wants to find a way to fire his concussion missiles at this point. So he's trying to think. I mean, he's trying to think where he should go. Honestly, I would, if I were him, he can move Vader 1 forward. He can move him a right bank 1, which can kind of stick him right where the Tempest is. The Tempest, you're probably, I mean, your one hope is to maybe block where Horton's going to go, and so maybe try and get around here. But I mean, there's not much you can do with the Tempest except for try and get out of range and then come back in. And it's unfortunate that this asteroid is right here, so that's going to kind of stop him doing like a hard turn to try and get out of the way. So I don't know if I'd probably just move 1 bank right for both of these guys, or maybe the Tempest 1 bank left.
You know, in general, I'm actually kind of surprised at the way the asteroids ended up being laid out. With the Imperial player holding the larger ship, I'm surprised that he didn't lay more asteroids on the Rebel side of the field.
Yeah, and
really, or the intended
corner,
Rebel side of the field, or just in the corners.
Mm-hmm.
It's typical to try and pile the asteroids up in a concentrated area when you have a big ship like that.
So,
to move around.
Looks like the X-wing took an unexpected turn. The 3 bank
Interesting.
Right.
Would still be a wonderful opportunity for seismic
Yeah,
charge.
there you go.
Splash damage right there. Good thing he's ionized. I think.
I think he's running his X-wing away. He's trying.
He is.
Yeah, he's trying to keep the X-wing out of fire and try and take some fire on his Y-wings. His Y-wings have 8 hit points available, so.
And it's really wise to get them out there and do some tanking. Now we have an interesting bank here. He is going to butt up right close to that asteroid.
Looks
That's
like
a serious
he just
problem.
barely misses the asteroid. So,
however, on next flight, he's almost got no maneuver to pass through it.
Yeah, he probably wasn't going to take a left anyways. He's got just enough room to go forward, and so long as he clears, he's going to be fine. He just can't turn left. But why would you turn left with this guy on the next turn anyways? In a lot of respects, depending on where Vader moves, he's...
look at this.
Ooh, we've got a bump. That is a definite... Devin is in denial right now, trying to find a way
hoping
to will the Y-wing out of the way, because he is going to sit himself right on an asteroid.
He's going to very carefully measure his...
That is about the worst that could have happened just happened. Yep. He's doing what he can to try and...
We have some odd placement there.
Yeah, we're going to get that fixed. Ooh, he takes another damage. So now the Tempest has no shields left.
Really, that just made the Tempest a target in a lot of ways, too. We'll see what Horton and Psalm does, but we might actually get a good lineup on a shot on that Tempest from Horton.
Yeah, and like we said before, the ion cannon causes him to bump into Horton Psalm, so he loses his actions.
Unfortunate. The bounty hunter is just controlled off over in his own little corner of space.
Mm-hmm. He still has a shot. He still has a shot on the X-wing. The X-wing is in his rear firing arc. So,
and the bounty hunter is no longer ionized at this point in time, so he will possibly get to take a movement action next round.
yeah, he'll be if he doesn't get attacked again. So, the Imperials have a really tough, or the Rebels have a really tough choice to make. Would you rather target the fire spray and try and walk him off the map, or you've got a Tempest with no defenses that you could maybe kind of run into?
This looks like a good maneuver with Horton's Psalm here.
He's going to be just on the other side, so the fire spray will have the opportunity to attack only the X-wing, although that's kind of a problem because the X-wing is the one person you don't want him attacking.
Really, in a lot of cases, that's very true.
We got some fancy flying here, so we got to make sure we're accurate. But so we've got Horton now has. Here's the thing: you could potentially target lock Vader depending on where he's going to fly his Vader. Now, I would expect Vader to just move one forward and try and launch a missile, so I wouldn't maybe do that. I'd probably focus. But hey, looks like he's considering it.
I honestly think we might see a target lock on.
Devin's shooting the gun. He's freaking out, trying to.
Yeah. Interesting situation. Interesting decision with Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Moving him into. He's now in the line of fire.
Yeah, he shouldn't have moved.
And has now also moved Vader to where his firing arc is away from the enemy. What do you think his plans are there? Is he going to come back around?
I think his goal is to try and create space and come back. I mean, he's thinking to himself, if he K-turns into this area, maybe try and avoid that asteroid, but he's probably got a good enough space to K-turn and have a, maybe have a shot. But honestly, I don't know if I'm Vader, I would have tried to maybe just barely move and maybe have just enough range 2 to fire a missile. I mean, you can fire a missile range 2. People try and fire them in range 3 too often.
I find this to be an interesting maneuver because I see two things happening here. I see the Imperial commander thinking about using those concussion missiles, but I also see him making a maneuver where it's going to make it take 2, possibly 3 extra rounds.
He turtles up with Vader. Vader's so hard to hit when he focuses and evades. It's so hard.
Well, that's the truth, and it's a lot of dice from a TIE Advance, too, for evasion. It's a serious problem, especially that might be range 3 from Horton on Vader if he makes that decision.
So our first...
that looks like a range 2.
Our first attack's going to be Horton because Vader does
not have an attack.
Oh.
Horton rolls a full board of focus.
That is the worst thing he could have rolled because Horton gets to reroll blanks, and he doesn't have focus, so he only gets the 1 critical from the proton torpedo.
That is a really unfortunate
and that's not going to do anything to Vader because Vader's already got an evade.
But he's going to roll it out to see.
And he didn't need it. Wow.
Doesn't need his evade at all. Doesn't even need his focus.
Vader is so hard to hit when he takes those 2. I mean, of course, you can always roll 3 agility, but still, I mean, it's just so hard to hurt.
3 agility is a lot of dice, anyways, and you've got a character that
the
can
bounty hunter on the Rook. Only 1 hit because he couldn't take focus because he bumped.
But the Rook makes a poor roll.
Well, he had focus. He uses
focus
his focus.
Is out of it. And will we see a gunner attack? We will.
We will see a gunner.
Nothing
the
good
rookie
for the
gets out of the way.
The rookie lives to fight another day.
Let's see here. Our other 2 attacks are now the Gold Squadron, and maybe the Tempest Squad has an attack on Horton.
Possibly that Tempest does. Well, actually, no, he's on an asteroid, so he'll be making no attacks.
He has to either choose to attack the Bounty Hunter or Vader. And honestly, if I was here, I would try and attack the Vader's going to be impossible to hit. The Bounty Hunter is no focus. You can hit him. You can deal damage here. But Vader is an tempting target because if you move him 1 forward, he is out for another round.
Yeah, he looks like he's in the danger zone for that asteroid.
It's so tempting.
It's close.
It's so tempting.
It'd be worth an attempt.
But you're rolling 3. I mean, he's got focus, but I don't think he's statistically likely to hit even even with this kind of dice roll, and it's at best 50-50.
Well, let's see.
He's deliberating. He doesn't know which one he wants to do.
Taking time now to consider. It looks like he's rolling 3.
He's just rolling at Vader. That's 3 hits.
Yes.
Vader rolls 2 evades
Vader
and uses
escapes.
evade.
Just what you were talking about a moment ago, where Vader is so tough to hit when he's turfing
He
up
was
like that.
gambling and he lost that gamble.
He did. He lost that bet big time. What does he have left? Gold Squadron. That Tempest can't take any actions, so the Gold Squadron will attack Vader most likely.
Yeah, he did. That was the last attack. And because the Tempest couldn't attack because he was on an asteroid.
Of course. So yes.
So I mean,
back to movement for them. Let's see how they get themselves out of this.
If you're the Imperials, you've got to feel like you just dodged a huge bullet there.
Seriously, because he made a major mistake in this region of the field here, coming into grips with that collision.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the second time he himself has collided.
Mm-hmm. Still, I mean, he managed to avoid both a Horton proton and an ion. Just completely walked away from it. Turtle Vader just kind of saved the day there.
Turtle Vader saved the day at the end because, unlike Horton's proton torpedo, looks like the Rebel commander actually rolled decently out of that last attack, but Vader just is a black hole for damage. He's a tempting target, even with that ion cannon. You just hope that you can get something on him and get him moved out of the way, but it just doesn't happen.
Imagine what would happen if the Vader was there and just completely out of the fight.
Yeah, he's going to deal with
asteroids.
If
you're the Rebels here, I would expect the Rebels to K-turn, get him out of range of the bounty hunter, and then he could start to maybe make his way back in. There is potential to maybe make a 2-turn there. Maybe.
I think the other option is possibly a 3-bank to starboard and come back around on the individuals trapped in the middle of the map, the Tempest Squadron and Vader.
If you're the Y-Wings, I would imagine you go 1 forward and get yourself right here to try and get away from the bounty hunters.
Firing arc.
If you're the bounty hunter, just move 1 or 2 forward. Get yourself right here, and you have a firing arc that gets you in range of just about everything in the battle. If you're the Tempest, I'd consider K-turning here. You're not going to be able to get a shot anyway on any of these guys unless you K-turn. And finally, Vader, I would consider you can't K-turn him. Maybe move yourself. Maybe you can. Maybe you have to. So, I don't know.
We'll see what they do. It looks like Devin right now is strongly considering his actions with the bounty hunter, as well as Michael, the Rebel commander, making a decent decision with Horton and Psalm. Really, I think at this point in time, if he doesn't make the decision to just create an irritating place with those Y-Wings, he's going to have a lot of trouble. He needs to get this X-Wing back in the fight.
Yeah.
I think him taking this X-Wing out of the fight in this direction was a mistake because he really didn't escape the wrath of the bounty hunter. The bounty hunter rolled poorly, but there was no way he could have predicted that.
I mean, at this point, maybe the X-Wing would have had a shot on the Tempest. Maybe. I mean, there were some things that he could have done to get himself in that general area for an attack, but he kind of avoided it. So, I mean, what do you do?
Well, the movement tiles have hit the ground. The spinners are down. Let's see what the X-Wing does.
The X-Wing tries to make...
We may see a piloting error here. These gentlemen are having trouble with their asteroid placement.
Unfortunate. He tries to get around the asteroid. He makes a bad judgment as far as what he saw, and he hits an asteroid. That's unfortunate.
Richard, that's now 2 rounds with that X-Wing down.
Yes.
That's going to become a serious problem in combat. And he takes a damage. Rolling the 1 die. Of course he
takes a damage. That's his last shield, Stu.
Oh, that's a problem for that X-Wing. Now, the saving grace for that X-Wing is, right now, he's at least out of the fight.
Yeah.
It is a problem that he took the single die, to see if he got damage from landing his plate on the asteroid. When that popped up, that's a problem. That makes that a lost maneuver again.
I mean...
Y-Wing pulling out some banks to starboard. That's a 3-bank to starboard.
The Horton makes a very aggressive move.
That's not Horton, that's Gold Squad.
Okay, the Gold Squad. So that puts him in the arc of Vader, potentially. Or it maybe blocks Vader.
I think that may be where the Rebel pilot is angling, or he's angled up a block for this Tempest pilot. It does, however, look like the Tempest pilot is just taking the safe route.
He's taking the K-turning.
He'll take the stress, but he gets himself out of that asteroid situation. The only downside to that decision is now he has to still deal with it again, flying forward back towards that same asteroid.
The
Bounty Hunter moves forward.
he took a K turn.
Oh yes, he did take a K turn.
He was that is the effect that an ion cannon has on you. You get so worried about flying off the map that he takes a K turn, which I mean is a smart move, but now he can't take actions. So you're kind of hurt in that case.
Horton Saul moving forward a good deal. Again, looking like he's taking those Y-Wings into the asteroid belt and trying to bring the fight to the Imperials.
Nice thing about having Y-Wings in an asteroid field is it's a nice way to kind of make up some damage by some potential hits on an asteroid. So where an ion cannon normally does 1, if you land them on an asteroid, you're doing then maybe 2, and then they're not attacking you. So, I mean, it gives some additional control and damage.
Oh, we have some motion happening on the board. It looks like one of the players has moved the piece away. We'll have judgment call made on that. Usually when they make a judgment call like that, it's helpful when they have focus down before you take something off, because at least you can get it relatively in the same position.
Yeah.
No advantage given from that placement. Nothing about the board changed, really.
So Vader kind of dodges out of the way, but it's not the greatest thing because you've got now 2 ion cannon shots right on Vader.
Range 1 on Vader, so no extra attack dodges. Of course, Vader can always turtle up.
So this is something that was maybe a mistake. Vader hands out a squad token to a target lock to the TIE Advance. That's technically not legal because you can't take an action while you're stressed, even if you handed out a free one like squad leader. So unfortunately, that was a mistake there.
I'm also seeing that they did measure up to find if the bounty hunter was in line of sight to Horton, and it did look like the stick was on. So we'll see what's happening
He's
here.
possibly got a shot.
It's range 3, but it's a shot. All right, so we're seeing Horton fire.
Horton gets those rerolls.
Oh, that looks nice for Horton. That's a good situation.
Horton gets
and nothing but blanks.
You have been ioned.
Yep. Unfortunately, again, just like you mentioned, it's all that damage, all that flash for 1 damage, but at least the ion is helpful.
You know where he's going.
Vader's
he's
now
still
ionized.
got a concussion missile on him.
That is Tempest pilot being ionized.
He's still got a concussion missile on him. So, he can still hurt somebody. Now, I think that if that is range 2, that mistake may end up getting a 4 dice hurt on Horton there.
It looks like we have
a bounty hunter
firing versus Horton, and the bounty hunter gets 1 hit in on Horton.
Got 1 hit on Horton. He missed on the first one. Horton dodged out of the way, causing a gunner. And then gunner fire got 1 damage on Horton, which Y-Wings don't care about damage. They laugh at damage. They have 8 hit points.
Oh my, that's a great attack roll.
Yeah, that would be from
the Gold Squad attacking
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader takes some heat.
They're both ionized. So now Mike's got a lot of control on where his ships are going.
It looks like he's hoping to possibly attempt a collision here. I don't think he has it.
No, because the Tempest would move before the Vader moves, so that by the time that Vader moves, this whole area right here is available. So
yeah, it looks like he's going to clear that space after that movement. Still, ion with a stress means pretty much no way you can get that stress out.
Looks like they did fire the Tempest, so that was a mistake. Luckily, though,
it doesn't look like it turned into anything.
It turned into 1 damage. So 1 damage on Horton. So that was inappropriate, and we missed that. But Horton does have a lot of hit points. It's not. I'm sure if Mike had the option of having a concussion missile being fired at him and it only doing 1 damage, he'd go ahead.
I think he'll take that. Honestly, mistake or no. And we do have 25 minutes left in the game, so really we're looking average now. 15 minutes around. How many more you think they'll get in at this point?
You've got maybe 3 or 4. If you think about this, I mean, now you know where Vader's going. Vader's going to be right where the Tempest is. So Vader's going to end up right around here. The Tempest is going to end up right around here. You know where they're going to be facing. You can possibly get the X-Wing with a 3-turn into this area and get a good shot on it. And if you move the Y-Wing and the Y-Wings out, maybe just a little bit ahead. Maybe you move 1 or 2 forward to get one Y-Wing, get Horton right here, and the Gold Squad right here. Suddenly, you're outside of their arc, and you can continue to ionize them and maybe get some attacks in. The only thing you're worried about is the Bounty Hunter, and the Bounty Hunter is probably going to make a nice turn.
Well, looks like the dice are on the board. We have another pass-through on that asteroid, and it looks like he takes a hit from it. That's very unfortunate for his remaining rook pilot. That's actually a face-down damage card on the rookie pilot.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So he's taken now 2 damage from asteroids.
He has. That's unfortunate for him. Seriously a problem. Let's see what he does with Gold Squad.
He moves it a little bit farther. So he moved, it looks like a 2 or a 3.
That's a 2 bank,
yeah.
I would call that. Moving off to starboard there. It looks like he's bringing him around and trying to keep his ion cannon relevant.
Mm-hmm. The Bounty Hunter chooses not to get rid of his stress and to get back into the fight as quick as he possibly can. He keeps
really trying to team up on Horton Slammer, that other X-Wing. He has a great opportunity. That's a range 3 on that X-Wing, but really, if you're going to take a range 3 with anybody, it's a Bounty Hunter with Gunner.
Yeah, because Gunner, you get 2 opportunities. It's in a weird way, kind of like target lock. So you either hit something, and if you don't hit, you at least get another full attack in.
Horton Saul may have escaped the targeting range of the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that leaves him with the only option being to destroy that X-Wing. With 21 and a half minutes left in the game, losing those points is going to be a crucial problem for the Rebel commander. Being very conservative there with that ion token. Not much choice.
He's still got... The nice thing about that is he still has stress in that K turn.
So no target lock, no extra opportunity on that. No focus to throw at that X-Wing at range 3.
And they do take away, so they figured that out, that rule.
Yeah.
So if you're the Rebels, you've got to really kind of consider what can you attack. You can hit the Tempest, and if you do hit the Tempest, you have the potential of knocking him on this asteroid right here. If that's something that might potentially get you some damage, you can also keep Vader moving in this direction.
And just continue to keep Vader out of the fight. The real problem is going to be that the offense of the Bounty Hunter is still being brought to bear. No actions on the Bounty Hunter, even though there is a focus token staying on the board right now. We'll see how that pans out. All right, it looks like some things are going to happen here.
And it's, so
for some
the first person to attack would be Horton. Looks like he is targeting
Vader for an ion cannon.
Yep.
Changing it all into some hits. Vader is
yeah,
going to have a problem
those
there.
rerolls for Horton are just awesome.
Vader with an excellent roll, and he has focus. Vader had focus, so he is safe.
He's safe.
Not ionized. So Vader, we might see Vader come back into the fight here soon.
He chose to attack Vader. I would have chosen to attack.
And they're finding out that they do not have range in the firing arc for Horton Psalm right now on the Bounty Hunter. So the Bounty Hunter will be forced to take a range 3 shot on the remaining rookie pilot.
That's just bad news. I mean, the rookie's got it. He's praying that he only suffers 1 damage here.
Really,
because you got to think that you're getting at least 1 damage.
And there's still an opportunity for that Tempest pilot to blast
2 hits and nope.
Blanks up. He is dead. The rookie pilot has been destroyed. The damage on the asteroid really caused a problem for the Rebel commander.
Absolutely. And if you think about this, I mean, there is only 1 X-wing attack that entire game. Only 1 X-wing.
Yeah, I think at this point in time we may be looking at a formality.
Well, I mean, there's still some potential, right? So Vader has 3 hit points left. The Tempest has 2 hit points left. With some ion cannon shenanigans here. I mean, we still got 1 gold attack, I mean, he's got some dice that he can roll. And he hits Vader. So, I mean, Vader's now got 2 hit points. The Tempest have 2 hit points. You've got enough time for maybe 3 rounds.
Well, and if you focus your ion attacks, if he can actually get a good run, he can steal some points away. Or his other option is to whittle Vader, hope for another shot in the next round, and run that other Tempest pilot into an asteroid.
He's got enough. Yeah, he's got enough damage to kill Vader or the Tempest or both. So if he kills both of them, those are worth more points than
the 2 lowly rookie pilots.
Than the 2 rookie X-wings. So if you're the Imperials, you're trying to get attacks on with your bounty hunter. If I were him, I would try and maybe move 1 or 2, or try and get right here and get a nice attack in, or to at least get rid of your stress. Maybe start setting up some attacks. If you're the rebels, you want to get right here if you can. Maybe get a shot on the Tempest, maybe get a shot on Vader, but you want to get right there. So I would try and hard turn right there.
Movement should be quick again this round, with the Rebel Commander making a solid decision with his
got 2 choices.
Not much going on there.
If you're
really,
Vader,
what do you think the Imperials are doing right now?
If I am the Tempest, you're really just trying to run away. Try and turn bank 2 or 3, get in this area, or you could potentially move Vader a hard 3 and get over here. Just run away from those Y-wings and try and survive. That's your only shot. I mean, you got 15 minutes left. Just delay, and be done.
I think he's probably really worried about those asteroids with that fire spray.
I mean, yeah.
Predictable short banks coming out of the Y-wing.
So, in my opinion, he didn't turn hard enough. I mean, he might be just slightly out of range, or Vader can now kind of run out of range. Oh!
That's a collision there with the Tempest pilot on that asteroid.
Oh, and he collides with the asteroid.
So, there's a real potential now that a Tempest pilot's in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, now you only have 1. Oh!
This is dangerous.
He's
going to hit the asteroid with the bounty hunter as well. This is a serious flight mistake.
Yeah, he could have turned. I mean, I think he's trying to keep people in his arc, but I mean, just use your rear arc. Yeah, he's going to hit. That's going to be another damage.
Oh, and he does actually.
He does suffer. That's unfortunate. The asteroids have done the most damage in this game.
Yeah, no kidding. So we have 12 minutes left here for these guys, and they're making it interesting with the 2 Y-wings at least.
That
Y-wing it's more the Imperial pilot area.
That Y-wing might have a shot on the Tempest. He might have a shot. And actually, when you think about this, the Tempest is going to move before the bounty hunter, so the Tempest is going to be blocked by this large bounty hunter. He can only move 1 forward, which would get him to maybe this area. So, I mean, he's got a potential to just essentially commit suicide with that spaceship.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens come combat time.
Yeah,
an ion cannon would be very dangerous for
Vader's trying to see what
forces.
he can do to avoid some attacks. He's kind of scared of Horton Salm's ion cannon. He should be.
Yeah, he looks like he's planning on barrel rolling himself out of range of the ion cannon. Hopefully he can keep himself out of his main firing arc as well. It does look like he'll be able to do so. I am seeing an opportunity here for the Rebel Commander to ionize that Tempest pilot. If he were to do so, he would force that Tempest pilot to run into the back of the fire spray, seeing that it moves first.
Vader turtles up. Nothing good ever happens when Vader... when Vader decides that he doesn't want to be hit.
Well, here comes the fun. We've got a ion cannon blast on Vader that he avoids, losing his
focus and evade.
Yes.
So there's some potential here.
At least he got rid of the damage. I really think he has to take action on that Tempest pilot, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's it. We got another couple of rounds. These got some ion cannons to see if they. Or we got some Y-wings to see if they can't catch up to Vader. Maybe you've got 2 rounds. Maybe.
I think with 9.5 minutes here, they've got a smaller amount of ships to control. The Imperial pilot may really waste some time here.
There is a potential for a Rebel victory still on the board if the Tempest manages to get roll a damage dice from the asteroid. That could be death for the Tempest fighter, and that would be 1 ship kill.
Well, we've seen the Imperial pilot have trouble flying his own ships. I mean, collisions early on.
Well, there's nothing he can do to avoid.
He
can't avoid for the Tempest. That's just going to happen.
Yep.
If you're the Rebels, you just want to try and get as close to Vader as possible. I would honestly consider it a hard. I would consider a hard right 3, even though that causes stress. That's going to get you in this general area for your Y-wings. Maybe you get a couple of shots with an ion cannon against Vader.
I think that's really his only hope at this point. He's really got to pack the damage on and hope he can run that Tempest into another situation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we're seeing the dials turn over now.
This may be
Horton
the last turn.
in. All right, so we're seeing asteroid collision here on the Tempest as it moves and butts into the back end of the fire spray. It looks like he escapes the damage, though. That's very good news for the Imperial pilot, despite his error. It looks like the fire spray clears the asteroid field, but really doesn't have a shot on anybody at this point in time, so he won't be doing much of anything.
Yeah, he's probably out of it from here on out.
Y-wing makes a hard bank to starboard, trying to line up shots on Vader as predicted. So, what we're seeing right now is a pretty basic situation. Vader trying to run for all of his life, and he may have actually accomplished it.
He's got a shot from the nope, he barrel rolls out of the way.
Himself out of the way.
Nope, you don't got a shot on me.
It looks like he's lining it up towards the back end. Out there he goes.
He's trying to stay.
There he goes. He figures out that.
I wonder if Horton still has the shot or not, because Horton does have the ability to do 2 damage or do a critical. So.
And here's the lineup, and it looks like he's not turtling up with him. So
he takes a focus action because he wants as many dice as possible, or he wants as many the best percentage as possible.
Oh, and abysmal.
So that's going to be 2 damage, but that's 2 dodges.
And, yeah.
So that's probably it. No, it looks like they got one more.
Yeah, combat's going quick here. It looks like they've got 1 round in them. Horton looks like he is out of range. Yeah, and they are determining that there will not be an attack there. So Vader escaping with his life. No shots on the Imperial side of the board. They've got nothing to target with. So we'll see another round of movement here as the dials come down. Players will probably make some very quick decisions here. This should be the last round of play. This one, I really have a hard time seeing a loss for the Imperials here, because
it's at this point, since the Tempest is still alive, they just got to hope that maybe they get some primaries, they get some crits, and make something happen. I mean, there's enough damage dice on the Rebel side to win. It's just very unlikely.
Yeah, and with the Tempest not taking the damage from the asteroid that round, he really escaped a lot of potential problems that could have been caused for the Imperial commander.
He takes another right bank. I think these aren't hard enough turns, and they're not getting him in the correct firing arcs.
They're really not. I think he's gotten used to flying around and using the ion cannon. He's not really paying attention closely enough to his front firing arc and distance. Not really anything very interesting from the Imperial commander. He's really just kind of keeping himself out of range. He knows he's got the point advantage right now. He's just going to run away. We'll see where Vader
Mike
moves.
is desperately trying to get some extra, some time in. He's got Horton. Horton's got a shot.
He's trying to zero in on Vader.
But let's see here. Vader has to move first, doesn't he?
Yes. So Vader doesn't really look like he escapes torment, but just killing Vader is still not enough to win the game.
Yeah, still you want to kill him, though.
It'll give him some satisfaction for the beating he's about to suffer.
I mean, if you're not going to win, seek vengeance.
Vader trying to get tricky here and barrel roll himself out of ion cannon range.
Yep,
he is out of ion cannon range and range 3, so
Yep.
he'll probably toss a evade or a focus on him.
Yep.
Looks
Probably
like
a focus.
it's strange that he throws a focus on him with no opportunity for offense.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about the dice, though. You're rolling 4 dice, and each focus...
Can be converted.
Yeah, so
But
I mean...
he has a bad roll with Horton's main cannon.
And that's done.
And Vader will just get out
And
of the way
that
of that.
is game. Looks like that's game.
And now let's check back in with our players and see what their thoughts are after the game.
All right, Devin, so you just won your match
I
against Michael Nolte and his cool hot army.
Cool hots.
Just took out his X-Wings pretty effectively in the beginning. From your plan at the beginning of the day, how do you think you executed that plan? What went right? What went wrong?
Well, I succeeded in my plan because my plan was to try to blow up an X-Wing on the first couple of rounds on my first pass, and I did, but I had a real problem getting my cluster missiles or concussion missiles off at first. But I just happened to I rolled really, really well on my basic attacks, and I was able to blow them up that first round. So.
Yeah, on that note of concussion missiles, you completely avoided using Vader's concussion missiles throughout the entire match, and
Yeah.
it took you till, I believe, round 4 or 5 to actually get the concussion missiles off on your Tempest. What could you have done differently to make that work out better?
Well, I should have crawled them along at the beginning. I might not have picked the right angle for them to come in on, but I should have crawled them along. I kind of jumped out with them to keep them up with the bounty hunter, and I should have just hung back and let them come
Let
to me.
them creep in and...
Yeah, because I was around the asteroids, and that created line of sight problems, and I wasn't able to give the actions I wanted or get the angles I wanted on the concussion missiles.
Go ahead.
All right, Michael, you just got whooped by Devin.
Yes, I did.
Not good news for you in the early parts of the fight.
No.
From your plan at the beginning, I mean, what went wrong in this?
Well, it was unfortunate to lose the X-wing so fast. I knew they were going to get targeted, so that kind of just is what it is. After that point, though, getting into the asteroids, I think, helped me out a lot. Keeping the bounty hunter away worked out well. Ioning the bounty hunter worked out well. So I'm happy with the way those things worked out.
Good. After you lost that first X-Wing, obviously that was a worry for you, but you lost a lot of your damage at the same time. How did your plans change? Was that moving into the asteroid field a change in your plan as a result of that X-Wing being blown up, or were you already planning on going in there? What about your plan on the board changed after you lost your first ship?
I wasn't necessarily planning on going into the asteroid field, but once I lost that first X-wing and some of my firepower was gone, I figured that was a good opportunity to get the enemy into the asteroid field and essentially focus on control with ions to try to get my damage.
Well, you gave it your best.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for watching today. Go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you enjoy the content we bring to you.
Also, you can feel free to follow us and interact with us on Twitter at xwing Gamecast.